Hi, everyone. This is Rita Denoyer Garcia of Becoming Awake and the Calm Mom Alliance. And I continue the series of Women Helping Women with my friend, Rosemary DeTrolio. So let me just say a few things about her. And don't forget, if you like these interviews, to subscribe and to hit that like button, as they say on YouTube. So Rosemary DeTrolio is a Reiki Master teacher. She's a retired New Jersey elementary school teacher. Yay! For 32 years. She holds a Master's of Education and Reading specialization. And she was the Teacher of the Year in her district and taught many children with behavioral and special needs and had a knack for teaching kids in ways they could grasp. We need teachers like that for sure. She's also an author of numerous books: Divine Messengers, Time Wheel, Wheel Guardian, The Magic Flute, Jenson and the Giants, and the Hermit of Larime. Is that how you say it? Larime?
Yes. Yeah.
So that is welcome to Women Helping Women. Rosemary, thanks for coming.
I'm so honored, Rita. I think you're awesome, and I'm so happy that we connected together on Alignable and got to know each other.
That's right. Yeah, it's been a while on Alignable.
Yeah, it has been.
So I just wanted to start with the question I ask everybody, which is, tell me a story of how you got into what you do now.
Okay, awesome. So I was one of these kids that always knew things. I was a very sensitive child. I can walk in a room and I would know if there was an argument in there. I come from a loud Italian family and I'm the quiet one. You wouldn't know that now because I'm pretty outgoing. But I used to feel energy around me all the time. So it was always a lifelong goal of mine. I can go to anywhere as a child and someone would sit next to me and tell me their problems. So it just became a pattern in my life of helping other people and understanding before they told me what might have been wrong. Just an energetic understanding of people. So I went into teaching, which I loved, and did that for a long time. And I was always drawn to the healing arts, but I didn't know what direction to go. So the first thing I learned back in '97 was Reiki, which is the healing art that I practice and I teach. And that put me on a journey of really retapping in and exploring my spiritual roots and my intuition and my vibes that I always had. And it just brought me to the understanding that I can help other people, because this stuff isn't always common knowledge for people. It's something you kind of learn along the way. You learn if you have to, but people don't really know how to deal with the experiences that they have in life. So that's kind of where I set myself, as putting people back on a path to understand their inner gifts. And that's what I've been doing ever since 2000.
Wow. And I would suspect that went into your teaching too. Did you feel that connection with kids and parents?
Always. My principal, I like to laugh. She would give me a lot of these kids with learning disabilities, with special needs, and who needed a different way to learn. And I was a regular classroom teacher, but so she'd walk past my room and she'd go, "My God," she goes, "you have the Zen classroom." And that's because my kids were always calm. So like before a test, I would have the kids breathe and I would teach them how to release their energy. And I wouldn't tell them those words. I'd say, let's do a happy bubble thought bath. And I would like pretend that they were filled with pink bubbles. And we would like go like this and wipe ourselves off. And then we'd breathe a few times before a test. And I would just teach them different calming skills that I knew would help them. You know, we'd pretend we were trees and we'd stand and root our feet to the ground. And I would teach the kids different skills that they can use as a life skill, which would also calm them before I would teach them a lesson or before any kind of state testing would come out. So I think it helped. I heard from a lot of my past students that are now adults with kids, and they still remember some of the things we used to do.
Wow. Well, you got Teacher of the Year, so.
Yeah, I did a long time ago, back in the day. And it's just one of my things. I think the best for me is hearing from students I taught, and that, they've told me I helped them along the way. And that's probably the best gift any person can hear that has guided other people.
Yeah, excellent. So what kinds of people seek you out? Like who's your ideal client? Who tends to show up at your door?
Okay, so it's very strange because I have a different smattering of people that come my way at different times in life. Normally, it would be women between the ages of maybe 35, and 60, which is quite a range. And they'll come for different reasons. Some people come for readings because they're at a crux in their life where they're trying to make a decision. Some other people come for Reiki for just to calm themselves down. Other people want to learn. So they're the ones that would take my courses of intuition and vibration, and just learning about how to use some of these things or open their gifts. So it's different purposes, but those people are usually seeking something. They're seeking direction or enlightenment, or just even interest. Maybe they're just curious about the woo-woo stuff that they hear about. And I make it very approachable and down to earth for them.
That's awesome. So can you give us an example of some results you've seen with that? Obviously
Yes.
Keeping confidentiality, but.
Yes. So a couple of different things. Let me think of one interesting one. Okay, so one of the teachers in my district came to me and he says, I don't know why I'm here for a Reiki session, but my spine doctor sent me to you. I don't believe in any of this stuff, but I'm just going to see what happens. I said, that's great. I said, have no expectations. Just lay down and let me work on you. So as he's laying there, like all this information's coming into me from his energy field, and I'm talking to him and I'm telling him to breathe. So I get down to like his midsection of his body, and all of a sudden his eyes shoot open. He goes, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I go, what's the matter? He says, I just felt a lightning bolt shoot through my feet. And I started laughing. I'm like, well, that's just energy. Just relax and breathe. By the time I was done, he sits up and he goes, that was the most amazing experience I've had in my life. He says, I'm coming back. He says, I want to book a few more sessions. So he wrote me an apology note after our session. He goes, I'm so sorry I was such a skeptic. That was amazing. I wouldn't have believed that in a million years. So after, doing Reiki on him a few times, excuse me, he actually bought a reading from me, and I did a soul reading for him. And it was just amazing just to see the expression of awe on his face when I finished, because it was something that he was very close to before we met and very open to after. And that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I found that sometimes the biggest skeptics become your biggest advocates, because they have that, they come in resistant maybe.
Yes.
And then they kind of go, whoa, what was that? I wasn't expecting that. So,
and they really need it. I dealt with another young man in his 30s, and the first time I worked with him, he was so quiet. I didn't know if anything happened. And he came back for a couple other sessions. And after that, he goes, this is amazing. I want to learn with you. So I trained him up to second level Reiki. He moved out of the country, and now he has a center in South America where he does Reiki in Ecuador. I think he's in now.
Wow.
And it was amazing to see this transformation and this growth in him from just working with him and teaching him different things as I'm working on him. So that was quite amazing too.
Wow, that's great. I love the transformation.
Yes.
So as you know, I work with stressed out professional moms. Yeah. So I'm always looking out for resources that they can use. Different people, because I can't do it all, obviously, and a lot of people do it better or differently. So how do you think what you do with a variety of services, help stressed out professional moms?
Okay, there's so many ways. The first way I would tell you is if they book in, let's say, a Reiki session. That is kind of the start of me teaching them how to calm their body. Sometimes when you're very stressed out, you don't remember what it feels like to be in that state of calmness. And Reiki itself calms the parasympathetic nervous system. So the first thing I would say is a Reiki session is very helpful to teach someone what calm feels like again. The second way is if someone is lacking direction, sometimes an angel reading or an intuitive communication session with me is very helpful. I either do them in person or on Zoom. Excuse me. Another way that would help is to just shift away from the worry and explore something for themselves that can help. For instance, an intuitive parent becomes an awesome parent. So I teach people how to tap into this natural ability, because then you can shift and you can see your child not as an extension of your arm. Even though we love our children dearly, they are separate little beings with their own journey ahead of them. And sometimes when this bad kid at school hurts their feelings. They have to understand that that's part of their child's soul journey, to know how to either stand on their own, stand up for themselves, deal with difficult people, shift their perspective. And it's all part of their journey, learning to be a human with this earth experience. And if you can shift yourself away from trying to just protect and fix and jump in and save that child from this terrible other kid in their class, you might realize that there was a soul lesson and your child might have a unique gift. So this unique gift might be to be a leader. It may be to be an advocate for people in their future. You don't know what these situations will teach your child. And that's what that teaches you to step back and look at your child in a different way, not as an extension of you, but more like a separate person on a journey themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's where you can be the best advocate and the best parent to help your child navigate life. So that's one of the things that I've done as a teacher. And also I have a son who's in his 30s now, and he's a parent of 2 kids, and he's got very good intuition and vibes. And I always said, you've got to trust that, trust that gut of yours and use it with your kids. And it's really led him to make some very good choices for his own children.
That's great. It's a great reminder just to hear for me, and I'm sure it's going to help other moms. And, I work with a lot of moms also who they do get stressed out around their kids and their kids' welfare, especially in the last 2 years. There's been a heightened, and it could go either way. It could be because of the restrictions, and it could be because of the disease, or it could be about the war. It could be about politics, or it could be whatever it is. And so I think that's a really valuable lesson is, it doesn't mean like, don't worry about it,
right.
at all. And it also could be your journey of standing up for something, or making a change, or deciding this is not good for my kid, or they could
absolutely
come out in all these different ways. Right. So,
yeah. And I believe peace always starts within. So a person that's anxious is one that feels out of control in some situation, but you can't control out there. You can't control the news. You can't control, wearing a mask. It's things you can't control, but that's not really where your power lies anyway. It always lies in knowing that you can control your perception of things. You can control your thought process. You can learn skills to help you navigate things that are difficult. And it always starts within. And a peaceful person within can be positive even in a really lousy situation. Yeah. I always think of the calm in the eye of the storm. Stuff could be flying around you, but you're in the middle and you're sitting in your power. And as an adult, if you can sit in your power, you're not going to transfer this nervous, anxious energy to your kids. If you're not in your own good space, you're going to push these fears on your children without even realizing it. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh no, you might get sick. You might skin a knee. And as a parent, I taught also kindergarten and first grade. And I said to the parents, if your child doesn't skin their knee on the playground, you're being too cautious with them. They're going to skin their knees. That's part of being a kid. They're going to fall. It's okay. We're watching them, but you can't protect them from everything unless you bubble wrap them and put them in a room by themselves. Yeah. They have to learn, so a child who has experiences and learns life and has a confident parent that can kind of guide them, that's where you're going to teach them that you trust them. You trust their decisions. Even if you're not sure, if you are confident and you guide them, their message to your kids should always be, you're an amazing person. I trust that you're going to do the right thing. And if you're not sure what to do, you know that I'm always here to help you. That's a message, not, oh my gosh, don't do this, don't do that. Because if you teach a confident person, they're not going to do things that are going to really get themselves in too much of a difficulty, because they're going to know they can come to you and you're not going to jump on them like, oh my gosh. You're going to accept what they do and you're going to help guide them. And that's really our job as parents, is to teach them to be independent adults who could decision make. Yeah. And I think I have to remind myself that like every morning sometimes. Yes. When I start to project into the future or think, oh, did she do that? Or did this happen? Or da, 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 da. Okay. It's all right.
It's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, my son went to school in New York City, the most frightening place in the world, you know, to send your son. And I just had to trust that, you know, I put a bubble of light around him. I guided him. We have a very close relationship. So he was able to call me if he needed something. But I always said, you know, you're intelligent, you're independent. I trust your decisions. If you have something, you can always ask me. And he was always able to do that, but he's very independent. And he became that way because I allowed him that growth. And that's, you know, what I like to see and like to do for other people, to tell them it's okay. You can release the reins, you know, and they'll be all right as long as you've guided them.
So how do people, well, first of all, before I want to get into how people connect with you, you have this litany of book titles, which are, so tell me a little about them, because we haven't even talked about that yet.
Oh, they're joy. So I've been a lifelong writer since I've been a little girl. And, you know, the bug bit me when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I was friends with an author when I was a kid. But the first one that I love to guide people to is called Divine Messengers, which teaches them about kind of my spiritual journey, but it's more like a guide for other people to find their own. So that's my adult one. It was originally Angel Voices 1111, and I republished it in a smaller version, more condensed, and that's the one that's on the internet now. The other books, Time Wheel, Wheel Guardian, and the third one I'm working on, Spinning Through Time, is for kids between the ages of 11 and 14, although many adults really enjoyed it. And the main character is a boy who just lost his dad. He discovers this prayer wheel in a store that his mother buys. She's a single parent because she's a widow. And this prayer wheel sends him back in time. And he begins to understand he can help other kids with problems by bringing them backward in time with him. And there's a spirit in the time wheel that you learn about in the second book that was going to be the first female Dalai Lama. And she died at 12. So she's kind of the direction behind transformation and change for Tommy and his friends. And it's fun. I modeled the main character after my son, although my son wasn't as goofy as I made the main character in the story. My son just had a very good sense of humor in that. So I kind of wove that in. And there's a lot about relationships in the story, friendships and bullies and navigating adolescence. So that's the Time Wheel series. And the other one I just really did because of my grandkids. They're picture books, and they have some text, and that's the Jenson and the Giants and the Magic Flute. The Hermit of Larime I wrote during COVID. The main character is this little old gardener who's in a castle with his cat all by himself. And he doesn't know where everybody went to. And we find out that there's these little characters living in the walls that he can't see yet. And he discovers the wizard's room. And that's really an entertaining story I wrote it for adults because I felt like during COVID, we were all sequestered like the little gardener. Yeah. And I wanted people to feel kind of a sense of what he was feeling in the story, you know, so that one is on Kindle Vella.
Okay. So all of these books so let's get to how people can connect with you and how they can get the books and how they can get a session with you.
So first thing, if they're looking for books, they can either go to my website, rosemaryd.com. You can research it on Amazon using DeTrolio, which is my last name and my book name, because they're a little hidden on there. If you want to connect with me for a discovery session, info@rosemaryd.com.
Okay.
And I'll give you clients a free 30-minute session if they connect with me, and then I can Zoom with them. So they can also find that information on rosemaryd.com, which is my main website.
Okay.
And I have a kid website, growyourspiritbooks.com. Okay. And that is for, you know, there's some parent and child research links and things that they can do if they get into writing or reading. And I just posted a writing creativity class on the growyourspiritbook.com website. That is a 12-week course that parents and kids can do together or alone. And it is for inspiring creativity and creative thinking.
Excellent. And you had mentioned before we started the interview that you have some workshops coming up in April.
Yes.
So people how can they figure out when and where and all that stuff? So
if they join my mailing list, info@rosemaryd.com, and ask to be on my mailing list or sign up directly on my website, I can let you know. I have a intuition class. I think 4 or 5 spots open. That's going to be an in-person class for developing intuition. That was a lot of fun. I did that one last month as well. So that one's coming up on April 5th. So if they want in, they have to go and click and get that one pretty fast. The link is on my website for Develop Intuition. I have a class that I haven't posted yet called Raise Your Vibration, and that's going to be about how to change your frequency and vibration. April 19th, 10 a.m. in person, angel communication. And that's at my home office in Hope, New Jersey. And that is also on my website. Sometimes I do give classes on Zoom. So if people are out of my state or they're far and they say, I really want to take the class, but I can't get to you, then sometimes I'll post a Zoom instead. These particular ones, I'm trying a few in person again, because I've done that before COVID.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Any last words? Any last bit of advice to stressed out professional moms before we close up?
Yes. I love you. Be kind to yourself. Know that everyone makes mistakes as a parent. We all do. There's something, even the most glorious, perfect parent in the world is going to kick themselves in the head for later saying, I should have. But don't do that to yourself. You have to know that you're doing the best that you can. And you can always go to a friend, ask for advice from someone else that's been through it, and that you are awesome and you're a wonderful parent already. Just give yourself a break and take a breath. Take a breath.
Couldn't have said it better. Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
Rosemary DeTrolio, thank you so much for talking to me today.
Oh, you're so welcome, Rita. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And you are awesome. I hope your clients will find you as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.